Welcome to another edition of Safe Streets of Jefferson. Our host is Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Norman. I'm Alan Katz, your co-host. Our subject today is the Corrections Academy. It's a training program for the men and women who work in the Jefferson Parish Corrections Center, that is, the Jefferson Parish Jail. This is a program conducted at the JPSO Training Academy on the west bank of the river. It presents opportunities for the men and women who work in the jail to improve their professional skills and also to advance in their pay grade. They receive training in the classroom, in the gymnasium where they learn self-defense, and on the firing range where they learn how to handle a weapon. The most important part, of course, is the academics in the classroom. The training is very much like a university with outstanding professional instructors and an environment that enhances learning. The environment is very much like a university with outstanding instruction and outstanding facilities. They're very proud of the fact that every graduate of the JPSO Corrections Academy has passed the required state exam. The most important part of the training program is in the classroom, where the officers learn what is legally permissible and what is not. We go now to Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Norman, who has the responsibility for running the prison and the training academy that teaches the professionals who have the responsibility for running the jail. Please stay tuned. Welcome to another edition of Safe Streets of Jefferson. Our host is Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Norman. I'm Alan Katz, your co-host. Our program today is about the Corrections Academy, which is a training program for the officers who run the prison, the Jefferson Parish Corrections Center. Sheriff, how are you today? Nice to see you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
The Corrections Program is one of the most innovative educational programs that the JPSO offers its employees.
Well, not unlike the rest of our employees throughout the organization, in each particular discipline it requires specialized training, some of which is mandated by the state and some that we do on top of that as well. So for example, in the corrections field, 90-hour course within a year of employ for the basic corrections course, and then a 200+ hour course in corrections level 2 that's required thereafterwards that gets you what is called corrections posts, and that one differentiator is the ability to carry a weapon at that point in time. And then obviously we carry on with additional training, whether it be leadership training, crisis intervention training, and otherwise for those individuals as well. When we're able to accommodate that, it is more difficult in the corrections field because we do have a high attrition rate there. We lose a lot of folks. It's a very difficult environment and atmosphere to work in. It takes a special person to succeed there. I mean, envision, if you will, going to work every day, watching 1,100 individuals that consider a badge of honor making you screw up. And that's kind of just the surface of the environment in which they work. So you have to be mentally strong. You have to be emotionally strong. This environment can sometimes get very graphic, very problematic, and challenges folks on a daily basis.
The people who put this together are really exceptional themselves. Captain Kevin Kwan, who just retired as commander of the Training Academy, and Deputy Chief Sue Ellen Mumford, who has been the warden at the Correction Center for a number of years now. She's one of the few women wardens in America and has had a remarkable career at the JPSO.
You know, Sue Ellen Munford came from the patrol division. She was a district commander, so she's worked out on the streets for a fairly lengthy time, moved up through the ranks of this organization. As such, had exhibited incredible administrative skills and a lot of attention to detail. When I previously described the environment in the jail, you get a sense of it begging for an individual that has attention to detail, because that is a very fluid, dynamic, it's like running a city. It's always changing, because we have people flowing in, flowing out, whether it be on bond, they go to trial, they're not guilty, early releases, jail overcrowding, constant flow. So that 1,100, we may actually move through that facility 10,000 inmates in a particular year. So there are quite a few that go through in general population, and then through the booking facility we may move over 20,000 through there in a given year. So that attention to detail and her command presence has led to a lot of the successes that we've had in corrections.
The officers who have been through the Corrections Academy tell me that it's like going to a university, that there are exercises in the gym and on the firing range, but it's also very academic.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in holding true to our maxim that, you know, intelligence drives excellence, we continue to try and get mentally stronger and smarter about what we do. We try to expose our employees to more than what they just like, that there's more to it than just that, and that if you're going to be strong intellectually and strong emotionally, it requires you to master a certain amount of information in order to do so, in order to face the challenges that you face. When watching inmates, they're always trying to push the buttons. So if you're not emotionally intelligent, the ability to manage one's own emotions or the emotions of others, you will make mistakes because you resort to your strengths. And if your strengths are your human physicality and you have to go hands-on, there are never any positive outcomes for that. Even though it may be justified, there's not a positive outcome. It's still ugly. And we try to avoid that as much as possible. And in our training, we try to express that there are, you know, many ways to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And the smarter that you are in devising that plan to get it accomplished, the better off you're going to be.
The quality of instruction at the Training Academy is really excellent, and those who have been through the Corrections Academy say that it's really shaped their thinking and their professional behavior.
Yeah, you know, we always try to improve upon what we're doing there. One, by looking at ourselves critically in the mirror. We're a firm believer that you can't improve either individually or as a whole if you're not willing to be critical of yourself and understand where your weaknesses are, your deficiencies and otherwise, and identify where there's room for improvement and execute on a plan to in fact improve. And I'm always pushing the edges of the envelope so that we're not a B organization, we're an A organization. And the moment that I lose that drive to be the A organization is probably the moment I decide not to be here any longer, because I always love turning the wrenches and working with these individuals that command these units who do a phenomenal job in pushing them and guiding and providing counsel we got to get to the next level. How are we going to get there? The manner in which young men and women learn today is so different than the way we were taught in our experience in school. And we've had to modify and change our delivery model so that their absorption factor of all this information is increased and more highly successful and more easily implemented.
They say that in some ways it's almost like going to law school as you learn about search and seizure and other procedures that must be done lawfully or they'll be thrown out by the courts.
Well, and one of the reasons we do that is that our arrests are only as good as the DA's prosecution. So we want to make sure that when we're making cases, whether it be on inmates that are already in the jail, because there's all kinds of things that are going on in the jail where they're actually investigating crimes inside of that facility, is that we got to make sure that the constitutional protections and safeguards are sacrosanct, that we do not run afoul of that, because that's the easiest way for a case to fall out. So we've spent all of this time on the investigative side for naught if we're not mindful of that. So yes, in many respects, it's like a constitutional law class in law school, a criminal law class in law school, and a criminal procedure class in law school, all wrapped into one for them to understand the nuances and the pitfalls and the safeguards that the arrested subject or accused individual has.
Our viewers are going to meet in the next few moments Captain Kwan, who ran the training academy and did a great job. He pointed out that no member of a corrections academy class who has passed the class failed the state exam. They have a perfect record, and I know that was part of your intention.
Yeah, I mean, we're always, if we're going to go through the exercise, we're always looking at what the results are of the exercise. And that's what I mean about looking in the mirror critically. If we see that we have a fail rate in a particular area of study, then that means we're either, one, not delivering this information in an appropriate manner for them to absorb same, or it could be a reflection on the students in our class, but more often than not, it's on our part. Because we've been very fortunate that the yearn and the thirst for information and knowledge that's presented and exhibited by our candidates that come to the academy is second to none.
We'll show you now some scenes from the training of the Corrections Academy, and we'll be back with Sheriff Norman at the end of the program for his thoughts and comments. Please stay tuned. We're here at the indoor shooting range of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. The subject for our report today is the JPSO Correctional Academy. This is a training program for officers who work in the Jefferson Parish Correctional Institute. Captain Kwan, tell us about the Correctional Academy.
It's considered a post-level 2 correctional peace officer academy. It is
Which
something
means certified?
Yes, they go through an academy training, academy curriculum. The current standard in this class, we do a little over 320 hours, 330 hours.
That's a lot.
Yes, where the mandate, I think is right around about 200 hours, 219,
So
220.
as is often true at the JPSO Training Academy, you exceed whatever the minimum is.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. They're currently right here at the range, going through the range training. They actually undergo the same range training as our patrol deputies and all the detectives and everybody else goes through when they start their training, especially firearms training. What's interesting is that the firearms training is not just a matter of learning how to shoot, but also it's the decision-making process. So even though firearms, and we always think, a lot of people think of firearms training being learning how to shoot the target, but it's the more critical and more important
Whether to
decision.
shoot.
Exactly. When to shoot, whether to shoot, seems to be a much more relevant question.
And that is part of what you instruct them in.
Yes. Yes. Outside of even legal aspects.
How many are in this class?
There are a total of 15, and this is actually our second one this year. We did a prior class of 15 as well, and they applied to come to this class to upgrade their current certification, their current training.
And also professionalization.
Absolutely, absolutely. Professionalization, sense of community, sense of teamwork, strong sense of teamwork, being there for each other. Something that is far beyond just the learning the law, learning firearms. A strong sense of
I
community.
noticed that you put a lot of emphasis on learning the law.
Yes.
And you might think that a security officer in a prison has very little need to know what the law is. Obviously, that's not true. And obviously, when they learn the law, it advances them professionally.
Absolutely. And they go through the same legal training as our full post deputies that are in patrol or in the detective bureau or wherever else. The reason why is because we've always had this belief. I mean, you have to know what the law says. The law provides the boundaries of what we as law enforcement officers can and cannot do. So a lot of times I make the analogy that whatever their intended task is, whether it's making an arrest, conducting an investigation, finding evidence, that the law provides the boundaries. They're kind of like on a football analogy that you have
how to conduct a search.
Exactly, and it's the
And
boundaries.
if you exceed the law, the search is no good.
Right.
It's going to be thrown out.
Yep. So they have to stay within the boundaries in achieving whatever their intended task is, whether it's a search and seizure or to make an arrest.
It's interesting to me as I watch them at work how many women there are in the group.
Yes.
And obviously that must be a coming trend in the field of jail security.
Yes, there's always been a need for female officers, whether it's in the jail or out on the street. We're definitely finding a significant need, and that's always been something that has been it's universal everywhere in any jurisdiction. We're no different, but having those female officers is very important to us, especially when we have female prisoners that we have to supervise, and having those female deputies is very important. And conducting searches. It's very crucial.
I think it's appropriate to say a word or two about Warden Sue Ellen Mumford, who is a deputy chief at the JPSO. She was the first woman commander of a district. She started as a secretary at the JPSO. And it's no surprise to me that she is behind this progressive program because she's a very progressive, advanced thinking person.
Absolutely, and she's absolutely identified a lot of needs of the correctional center, and in addressing the needs of the correctional center, she works very well with training. We've been able to accommodate her needs, anything that she really needs, and she's right on as far as trying to advance the level of training here, working with Rob Palermo in our personnel division and trying to make the training better, where instead they used to come in at night once every couple of years. Now that we're able to bring them in and at her own sacrifice, at the jail sacrifice, to actually bring those correctional officers in full-time into the academy to allow us to increase their level of training and provide a much better product for the long term.
The fact that these officers have volunteered for this program is very impressive to me. It speaks to their ambition and their desire to improve themselves.
Absolutely, and it shows in their performance. It shows in their level of performance because they really want it. and it shows. They really want this certification. They're earning it.
And also, isn't there a pay raise involved if they're successful?
There is. They're eligible for state supplemental pay, which at the moment is a $6,000 increase from the state to supplement their pay, their current pay right now.
And that would certainly be welcome in anybody's household.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that, you know, that's one way to offset some of the pay issues that are there. But it's also a really good incentive for them to increase their level of certification.
So how do you think this class is doing?
Very well, very well. The last since we started this. With just the last class, and this is only the second class that we've done it as a day class, as a full-time recruit class. I have very high hopes and I have very high expectations. They have exceeded my expectations thus far.
What are some of the other things that they learn in this program besides the law and marksmanship?
They do go through our investigations block of instructions, so they do have the post instructions, the post-lesson plans as far as homicide investigations, robbery investigations, and a lot of that is because even when they're in the jail and they may be supervising inmates, but at the same time they do or may have to be called upon to investigate crimes within the jail. So it is a very important part of that.
Know how to conduct a search, know how to gather evidence.
Absolutely. So they're also doing a report writing block to increase their proficiency in report writing and able to document their investigation.
Is there a state exam that you take at the end of this?
There is. It's a post level 2 peace officer exam, so it's very similar to the regular full-time post exam.
The history of the JPSO Training Academy is that every graduate from your course passes the state exam. Is that going to be the case in this instance?
I do believe so. I hate to jinx myself, but at the same time, they are prepared. They're very well prepared, and I would expect the same.
Ready. The line is ready. Fire!
Police, don't move!
Give me a good strong trigger squeeze. Excellent, excellent. Back slide. Scan. Holster. Perfect.
What do you got, little fella? What do you got there? Looks like someone's butt. They must have lost it playing with their kids.
Welcome back to Safe Streets of Jefferson. We're here at the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office Training Academy, which, as you can see, is a very busy place. In just a moment, we'll be visiting with JPSO Deputy Alicia Barth. She is a West Bank girl who graduated from Higgins High School. She has worked in the jail, the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center, for the last 2 years. She has excelled at her work, which is very difficult and demanding, and she has been selected to be part of the JPSO Correctional Academy, which is an educational program for jail personnel that enables them to improve their pay grade and their rank. As you will see, Alicia is a very mature 21-year-old who is aiming for a career in correctional work.
When I started with nursing, my whole goal was to help people. That was my main goal. Well, it was a year and a half later, I was just in there, I was like, I'm not happy with myself. This is not all that I want to do. I want to do more. So I looked around. I was thinking about doing home health. And then I was like, you know what, I see my friend, he's in the correctional facility, and I might want to try it. So I just tried it, and being in the correctional facility, it's like, okay, this is kind of more what I want to do. I want to help more people. I'm being there, I'm protecting people from the inmates in the inside, you know. I've been working in the correction center for approximately a year and a half now. Well, me being 21 in the jail with older members of the jail, it really doesn't affect anything because we don't see age. We see, hey, this is my brother, this is my sister. I'm going to have your back regardless of your age, and I'm going to be there for you. Age is just a number in people's eyes and people's hearts. The training at the jail has impacted me to want to move up because I see, hey, look, they're helping me, they're showing me, and they're actually there to guide me in the right direction, and I want to do that for someone else. And the training at the academy that I'm in right now, the fire instructors are amazing. Like, they actually show you everything to help save your life, to help make sure you maintain the proper stance, proper alignment, all that. And within the academy itself, with the instructors that are teaching you the legal part, they're showing you, hey, look at all the things that you have to break down. There's not just one code for this. There's like maybe 10 inside that one code. While working in the jail, you have to have control of your emotions because they're going to test you to where you feel like, okay, this dude's calling me out of my name.
These are the inmates who are going to
Yeah.
test you.
Yeah, the inmate's going to call me out of my name. They're going to want to antagonize me. They're going to see how far they could push my buttons. Well, for me, you have to have self-control because if not, you're going to play into it or they're going to be like, ha, I got you. And they're going to probably use you in the long run for that. When if you have self-control of yourself and over your emotions, then their words, their actions,
Doesn't mean anything.
they won't affect you. Yeah, I kind of like the learning about the legal part, about all the stages and all the things they have that you can get arrested for and all the crimes. I've never known anything about that in the shooting. I've never dealt with a gun before. Some of the techniques on the fire range that I use is to always look around for your surroundings because you never know what's behind you, what's on side of you. And when you're shooting, always make sure you look through the rear sight to the front sight and only see the front sight. When I holstered, I always make sure to look left, right, front, behind because you never know what's behind you, what's in front of you. And that's some of the techniques that I use on the fire range. When I see myself tensing up and I see my hand kind of being unsteady, I sit there and say, okay, breathe in, breathe out, and when you exhale, shoot. You have to have a mindset to clear your brain, clear the fear, clear everything that's going on in your head. And when you breathe through, you kind of want to contain that person and control it and show them that, hey, I'm there, I'm here, I'm going to be the one that controls the situation and the outcome. We're going to breathe through this, we're going to work through it, we're going to, do what's better. I'm not going to just make a bad decision and just, go ahead, shoot with my hand shaking or shoot with my head full of all kind of negative things and anything like that. I'm going to be breathing through, I'm going to follow through all my actions, and we're going to work it out. You can build your whole life with this job. Like, you might start off at the bottom, but there's so many opportunities to work your way up. You just got to be patient and willing to do it. I mean, yes, every job has its ups and its downs and its bad things and its good things, but this job really can provide a life for you and can help you in the long run.
That was JPSO Deputy Alicia Barth. She obviously is very promising and has a great future in correctional work at the JPSO. We'll be back now with the last comments from Sheriff Newell Norman, the Sheriff of Jefferson Parish. Sheriff, our viewers have had a chance to see the Corrections Academy. Many people don't even know that such a program exists, but obviously the program at the JPSO is one of the best in the country. What are your final thoughts on the Corrections Academy and the work that these officers do?
Well, I hope the viewing public got a really nice insight into the amount of energy and thought process that goes into this educational curriculum and the agenda of this organization and trying to raise the intellect of the folks that work here, because we really believe that that's going to drive excellence. And the smarter we are about what we do, the better off we'll be. And we hope that they got a really nice look at that, and they feel the same way about the approach that we have undertaking as we do.
We'll be back next month with another edition of Safe Streets of Jefferson. Until then, thank you for watching.